Hello everybody, welcome. Oh. Hello everybody. Sorry, having some technical difficulties here today. My chat going up. Hey, alright, there we go. Alright, so yeah, my internet's upload speed was like down to like 4 megabytes or something, so I had to like restart everything. How's everybody doing? Let me catch up on chat here. Is the internet even online or hacking things? Ooh, okay. We're downloading stuff. Yeah, it was mostly just my download speeds were great. It's the uploads that were borked. Nexus is slow, YouTube, Twitch is slow, slow kids are slow. That's very true. So we got Magus, we got James, we got Tom. I see Tom. I see James again. I see Magus. I see Tom. I see James. Who else we got? Your boy Nobody. Welcome, buddy. Yeah, no politics here. We don't want things to devolve. Or I don't want things to devolve. Let's see. Oblivion doesn't... Sorry, here we go. I gotta pop this out. Like half my chat is cut off here on this stupid window. I gotta get this settled. I've been so busy at work, I haven't been able to work on my streams or anything. Why can't I do a pop out? I wasn't even able to get that ellipses over there. Here we go. That works better. How about that? Okay, let's see. Oh, thanks Magus for, am I pooping? Yeah, thanks for keeping the politics out of there. Free stream poops. Okay, so we have Ross Norris. Hey, buddy. James. The End King is here. Seth Williams. Free stream poops. Tolvior, what's up, buddy? Glad to see your name. Haven't seen your name pop up in a while. Yeah, all right. I think we're good. Let me just get settled here. Get my shit all in the right spots. Almost there, I promise. Why my chat... Look at this. This is so ridiculous. Why is it doing this? My chat window is huge, but it's just... Oh, here we go. That's a little better. This is as small as it gets. Man, I hate computers. Let me just make sure everything else is looking good. Yeah. Uploads, no dropped frames. Excellent. All right, I'll keep an eye on that. I have that problem too, yeah. All my stuff is too big to fit where it's supposed to go. Probably why he wears no pants. The balls to open Nexus front page on Steam. Oh no, I mean that's I'm signed in and I got the not safe for work filters on, which I've heard are actually pretty hit or miss, but for me it's been like even more stringent than I would expect, so I'm okay. You're talking about Oblivion? Yeah, it's been a crazy experience getting back into Oblivion. Like, it's like nostalgia, but usually like nostalgia makes old stuff feel better than it was. This is like actually better than what I remember. It's good stuff. Oblivion is an amazing game. It had some like top tier like writing in it. The story and everything and all the little side stories, the environmental storytelling was Bethesda at its best, I think. I'd never really played Morrowind, so I can't really say. He's got LL open where his cam is located. Yeah, there we go. So I can't really say, and people love the writing in Morrowind as well. But Oblivion and Fallout 3, I think we're head and shoulders above even Skyrim in the story and writing department. I think Skyrim and Fallout 4 really took off because of the gameplay and the graphics and the world building and stuff like that. But when it comes to just like playing through like a story or like going and exploring and finding a little side quest that's like amazing, I think Oblivion, Fallout 3 gets it best. Oblivion was written by Michael Kirkbride, who also wrote Morrowind. Yeah, Kirkbride has like a lot of his own books on the stuff, which I don't think is technically considered canon, even though he was a head writer. During his time, he did write a lot of side stuff just for, you know, extra merchandising for Bethesda, I think. Probably some pocket money for him. All right, so before we get into the game, I did have one news story. So Expedition 33, and I'll send you guys the, well, actually, let me do this. Share the video here. Expedition 33. This one is catching a lot of people by surprise, and I've seen several reviews now that are saying this one is a dark horse candidate for Game of the Year. It's not a full price game. I think you get it for like 40 or 50 bucks on Steam. I think it's a day one Game Pass game. It is a turn-based JRPG style RPG, right? Any of us who have been watching Magus do his retro JRPG playthroughs probably are wanting to, you know, we're getting the taste to go back and play those older style games. This one, obviously it looks amazing. It's got AAA style graphics. It does feature the turn-based gameplay, but it also does have real-time, kind of like quick-time events all throughout the combat sequences here. Like it showed him like shooting like balloons with a gun or whatever. There are real-time moments where you can free aim the gun and shoot for like weak points and stuff on the enemy. There are 4 different characters. I think there's only 4. And anybody who's familiar with these old JRPG games, each one of these characters has a build that you need to get set up, and then they all synergize together. So you got to set up your squads. I don't think you get all 4 of them at once. I think it's more of a 3. We're only doing threesomes in this game. But yeah, people are saying the gameplay is really good. The dodging and parry mechanics are very tight. So the timing, you have to be like even like more accurate, more precise than the like even something like Sekiro or something like that. So that's probably something they'll patch to make it a little easier. You'd say 40 to 50 is full price? Not when a regular game is $70 to $80. I mean, you can say what you would pay for like a game top end, but I mean, people are paying, let's see, where's a AAA game on here? Oh, the last thing that came out. Oblivion was not a full price game. Most regular games on there are 40. Yeah, new games though. I'm trying to think. Maybe Monster Hunter. Yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds is one of the last big AAA RPGs. That's 70. That's the new standard. Trying to think of what else. Kingdom Come Deliverance was another big one. Oh, that's only 60. There you go. That's kind of not really from a big AAA company though. I've not paid more than 10 bucks for a game in night. Yeah, that's the way to do it. You wait for it to go on sale. Steam always has these super steep. 50 bucks for Oblivion Remastered, but that they knew they couldn't charge you full price for that. Yeah, so let's see. Expedition 33. Yeah, Expedition 33, it's actually on sale right now for 44 bucks. $50, same price as Oblivion Remastered, which for a brand new IP with AAA graphics, I guess you get, you know, upwards of 60 plus hours on this. So it is like a full ass, you know, experience. Long RPGs, full building, lots of stuff to mess around with as far as your squad goes, your different play styles, different magic systems, things like that. So I'm actually really interested in this. If it weren't for Doom Dark Ages coming out next month, I would be all over this right now. I won't pay full price for anything short. That's a good policy to have. Yeah, so for people, that's what I always say. The gamer who waits is the gamer who wins, because you get the game at a vastly discounted price. You also get the game that's been fixed for, you know, however long it takes to go on sale, for like 6 months, usually several months. And they usually have like they've patched out like the big troublesome stuff. So yeah, wait till it goes on sale. Doom sucks, go buy this. Yeah. I've already bought Doom. I pre-ordered the collector's edition for it. Let's see. Doom Dark Ages is another $70 game too. So yeah, AAA games that are coming out are 70 plus. And then, yeah, Switch 2 games are going to be like 80 bucks, which is crazy. Speaking of Switch 2, I did actually manage to procure a pre-order from Walmart. Just being tenacious and just hitting that F5 button whenever I'm at my computer. This was probably almost, you know, about a day and a half after the pre-orders went live. Walmart, I guess some of these pre-orders have been opening up as people cancel their pre-orders. So that one, and I've seen it pop up on GameStop too. So if you're still looking for one, just, you know, have a browser window open, refresh on the pre-order page, and you may be able to add it to your cart at some point. Collector's edition non-physical copy doesn't make sense to me unless they send you shit in the mail. Yes, they absolutely do send me shit in the mail. Let's see here. Dark Ages Collector's edition. Doom. They're already going for 130 or 330 on on eBay. Damn it, assholes. Collector's bundle. Let's see. Yeah, they're sending me a hard copy. You get the steel bookcase, key card replica. You get the 12-inch Doomslayer statue. That's what I wanted, so that I could put it up on my shelves in the man cave, like behind me. And then digital art books and stuff like that. You get the premium digital stuff, but it's the physical stuff that you buy the collector's edition for. Yep, that's the one that I got. I love the previous game so much that I want to represent it on my shelves, so that's why I did that. Only like $700? Like, no, I got it for much cheaper. I think I got it for like 180 bucks or something like that, which is still not worth the money, but when you're a geeky fan like me that likes to put stuff on his shelves and is a huge fan of physical media, it's a lot cheaper than paying $330 for it on eBay. In Doom we trust, indeed. id Software is a sure thing. It's almost just as sure as thing as, well, it is definitely just as sure a thing as From Software with putting out good. Speaking of Skyrim things, soon. Oh, you got some new stuff coming, Magus? We're all excited. Oh, waste of money for the new. Yeah, it was $450 for the regular edition, and if you want to get it bundled with Mario Kart, which is what I did, it's $500. Hardware prices are inflated, but I think they're going to become even more inflated. So if I decide I don't want it, I can probably sell it for more than I bought it for. Anyway. All right. Let's get started on some Oblivion, huh? Let's see. There we go. And from what I understand, Dark Ages takes place during the destruction of Argent and Danur after the Sentinels were betrayed from one of their own. Yeah, I think this is a prequel, right? To the stuff that you're playing through the aftermath of in Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Okay, we got music going here, so I'm actually gonna pop back over to OBS. I'm gonna disable the background music so we don't get competing tunes here. Started yesterday around 2 p.m. around 1300 mod. Jeez, man, you mod like nobody. Just the sheer rate at which you install your mods is insane to me. Okay. Continue from, but you've been around the block a few times with those, so it does make sense. All right, so I am playing a Nord warrior in this game, and my build is far from optimal. I just wanted to play an out-of-the-box class instead of a custom class because I wanted to see how they rebalanced this game, if they did at all. And as you can also see, the stylings of this character, the aesthetics, make it look like a Nord warrior is so easy, even a caveman could do it. Anybody who's a fan of American advertising, which is precisely nobody, but he still does look exactly like the caveman from those Progressive commercials. I didn't do that on purpose. Yeah, the character models, the player character models in this game can be really, really good. The NPCs are very hit or miss. Based on the interviews, the launch interviews that I saw from Virtuous on the day that this released, they were kind of going for a wonky NPC aesthetic because people love the potato faces of the last one. One issue I've been having with this game, technically it works fine for the most part for me. One thing that I've been having trouble with is the frame rate limiter. I have to set it to uncapped, and then I have to come back and recap it at 120 because it forgets my frame cap settings. And when you're using frame gen like I am, you kind of want a proper frame cap on there to keep everything smooth. But once I come back in and do that, it works very, very well. I haven't had any issues with performance. I've been getting very close to 120 frames per second with the frame gen enabled and at high settings instead of ultra, and I've been good. This is Karn from like 7 years ago before the gray starts setting in. Yeah, pretty much. So Skyrim and Cyrodiil, huh? Yeah, pretty much. It's funny because your last video I watched was an Imperial warrior in Skyrim. Yep, indeed. Yeah, so I wanted just, let's see, is that an Elven battle axe? It is indeed. It's just the best one I can do. So all of this stuff is just the best stuff that I could find. I have an Orcish cuirass here. I have blades, gauntlets, and boots. I think I also have Orcish greaves, and I have a blades helmet. So this is all just the highest, you know, armor rating, highest damage output stuff that I could find. The Orcish stuff looks great. Actually, all the weapon and armor models in this game are like super top notch. I'm super impressed with what they did with everything as far as the equipment goes here. This is like high quality modded stuff that you would get from Skyrim. In fact, I would go as far as saying this game overall looks better than a high quality modded Skyrim. I can't believe I'm saying that, but there it is. Maybe turn off VSync. Oh, no, the VSync smooths everything out as far as frame times, and I am not noticing anything as far as input delay, so we're good. I love that armor has door knocker on the front. Yeah, right for the sternum. Don't think anyone's running this fully on. Yeah, the graphics were changed over to Unreal Engine 5 for this one, which is it's extremely notoriously heavy engine. So it does have a lot of advanced effects as far as like lighting, particle effects, shadows, like LODs. The LODs in this are fantastic, right? But that does come at the cost of performance. And luckily, oops, did not mean to do that. I just hit a button. Luckily, the frame timing on this has been fine for me. A lot of Unreal Engine games, the last one that I played was Black Myth Wukong. terrible frame timing, just stutters all over the place. But while I do see a lot of traversal stutter in this game, the original had a lot of that too, so I'm not really too bothered by it. Warrior with just a little bit of, yeah, it's not like a pure warrior. I'm just going through this, like I said, I just wanted to do one of the simple out of the box builds or classes on this, just because I wanted to see what kind of balancing changes they made, if they made the game easier, and they have in certain ways, I think. I've been playing on Adept, which is pretty easy. A lot of people have said that Adept is probably too easy out of the box, but then if you kick it up to Expert, it's too hard. So the balance is kind of out of whack. I think overall they made things easier. The endurance they made retroactive to health levels, so you don't have to take endurance right away to get like scaling, stacking endurance buffs over and over. However much endurance you take at any point in the playthrough, you're going to get the same amount of health, which is like the max amount. So yeah, your health levels aren't going to be gimped from not taking endurance. You also get some health from strength and a little bit from luck. So you do have higher health pools at most points during the game. You also don't have to worry about using the right skills between level ups. Like if you're really trying to level up endurance, you got to kind of, take your shots with block or heavy armor to get those skill level increases up to a point where you're going to get the full endurance attribute bonus. You can just get to pick how many attribute points you want in each attribute. I think they give you like 12 points to distribute however you want at each level up. So that they made it easier. Blader Art, welcome, buddy. Not even a week, and there's a lot of mods too. There is an Xedit. Actually, Magus had me pin the Xedit version that he had in my Discord. So if you want to get into Xedit for this game and start tweaking values and stuff, which a lot of mods can be, it's crazy how many mods can be made just in Xedit. Take a look at the Discord. The link's in the description below. You can download that and start messing with it yourself if you want. But yeah, that's where most of those mods are coming from, or existing mods that didn't have any meshes or textures, because the folder structure is a little different, and obviously they're not using Gamebryo or Creation Engine for this. They're using Unreal Engine, which handles its rendering a little different. So the meshes and textures aren't all going in the same place or being consumed in the same way. So modders will figure that out too. Unreal Engine modding has been around for a long time, so that'll probably expand some of the things, or at least some of the modders that we're getting working on this stuff. I don't know that it's going to actually expand the things we can do with it.
Oh, spare a coin for the infirm.
Yeah, sure. You can have a coin. Come here.
One more coin and I can get a pair.
Yeah, some of the human models in this game are fine to good. Like this guy doesn't look too bad. I mean, they all look a little janky. Most of the characters in this game look like they have some kind of substance abuse issues or something.
Thank you, kind sir. Blessings
but overall, a vast
upon
improvement over what the original potato faces looked like. The beast races, they look good, I think, objectively, but a lot of them have like rubber Halloween mask quality to them. So when you're talking to like a Khajiit or an Argonian, is that shit? He got shit on his lip. He's a beggar. He was hungry. He had to eat something, and shit was available, so he ate shit. So a lot of times when you're talking to Argonians or Khajiit or something like that, you start getting like Chuck E. Cheese or Showbiz Pizza vibes, the animatronic robots that they have playing their music and stuff. But yeah, man, this game is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Because construction kit doesn't full. Yeah, so you don't get the full creation kit that you got with being able to place things. They changed some things around. There will be no, at least that's what the official word right now is, that there will be no official modding support, so they won't be releasing a creation engine. Not to say that modders can't, work some kind of crazy magic on it and get some kind of, at least level editors. Unreal has like level editors and stuff that you can use. time is just going to tell how far the modders go with this. There's already been like an achievements enabler downloaded, which is going to require some kind of game logic injection. So we do have some kind of a plugin loader already, which is nice. There's that FPS tip. Yeah, you guys are seeing it too, right? It's traversal stutter, but once you're in a dungeon and stuff, it's pretty buttery smooth. Feel like I know this area from playing Beyond Skyrim. Yeah, you actually spend a lot of time in the Bruma area in this game because the main quest line is centered a lot around Cloud Ruler Temple up here, which you also explore in Bruma. So this is cool for people who have only played Skyrim and haven't played Oblivion yet. You kind of get that nostalgia from Skyrim Bruma, the Beyond Skyrim Bruma modded DLC. But people who haven't played Oblivion, they find like the lore of the place interesting, but they don't get that nostalgia hit that the people who played Oblivion did. So it's kind of interesting for them to be able to go back now after the fact, after playing Beyond Skyrim Bruma and then finding all these key landmarks and hearing about all this history and stuff, and then being able to go back and get like this weird retroactive nostalgia of like, oh, this is what happened, or oh, this is what they were talking about, or oh, this is the haunted Blades headquarters that we got to explore in the mod. So it's really cool. I'm kind of excited for people who haven't played this game to go back and actually play it now for the first time. And I do believe that this remaster is so good that this is the best way to play it. Don't play Oblivion with mods, original OB with Oblivion with mods. Play this, even without mods. Magus dropped a reshade for me in Discord. I think it was yesterday, last night or something. I haven't gotten around to like fiddling with the reshade stuff. But even out of the box, this is an absolute amazing experience. I'm super impressed. And it just reminds me of just how good this game was. I'm getting obsessed with it all over again. Like, I'm all in for this playthrough now. It's like I paused all my other games that I was playing so I could go back and play Oblivion now in 2025. The script extender is out already, but not great start so far. Okay, it's having issues. Yeah, it's another thing is that there's no mod manager support for it yet, but you will get something like that. Also, the rebalanced leveling system, yeah, which I touched on a little bit. So yeah, the game does feel easier. It doesn't have the difficulty slider like it did in the original. So let's see. We get difficulty levels like in Skyrim, but in my experience, the difficulty levels, the difficulty scaling is much harsher than it is in Skyrim. So yeah, a lot of people, they started on Adept and they were like, wow, this is really easy. And then so they moved up to Expert and they're like, wow, this is way too hard. Adept does get more difficult as you level up. Because of the way that the leveling system works in Oblivion. It's the same leveling system, they just made the attribute points a little more accessible on each level up. But if you're using an out-of-the-box class like I am with the warrior here, you get major skills that make sense right off the top of your head. Like, oh yeah, these are the skills that a warrior would get, right? The problem is we have blade, blunt, and hand-to-hand. So these are 3 different offensive skills that all contribute towards your overall level. So you're actually spreading out your skill points or your skill levels based on your overall level among 3 different offensive skills, which so the enemy scaling in this game is way harsher than it is in Skyrim as well. So at level 10, enemies are way more difficult than they were at level 1 through 5 or whatever. In Skyrim, it doesn't scale that much hard, that much more difficult. From level to level, you still get a lot of low-level enemies in the enemy pool, from level 1 to 10 and even into 20 and stuff. But this is a little more it's just a lot harder. it really replaces a lot of the low enemies with really high ones really quickly throughout. So like if you don't have an offensive skill that keeps up, an offensive skill level that keeps up with your overall player level, the scaling enemy levels are going to like outpace you in terms of the damage that you can do and the damage you can take. So the same idea applies to block and heavy armor. So block and heavy armor are two different defensive skills. Ideally, you would want to have one of each in your major skill. So you want to have one main defensive skill in your major skills, and I would put like heavy armor, and then pick either blunt or blade and stick with that one. Put that in your major skills, and then all the other skills that you're using, use stuff that you're either not using all the time, or ideally stuff that you're not using all the time and stuff that is easy to control the level ups on it. So things like acrobatics, you can just avoid jumping for the most part in this game. But then when you want to level up, then you can just jump around all over the place, level up acrobatics, and you're good. So other things that are like that, alchemy, you can just avoid making potions until you want to level up, and then you make a whole bunch of them. Conjuration, I'm not sure if conjuration, I think conjuration levels up in this game independently of whether or not you're in combat, whereas in Skyrim, you have to be in combat to level your conjuration skills when you cast a conjuration spell. I don't remember completely, but you might be able to just cast conjuration spells anywhere and get level increases from it out of combat. And then of course things like muffle, invisibility that you get from mysticism, illusion. You do have a mysticism spell school in this game that was combined with illusion for Skyrim, so they just kind of streamlined mysticism into illusion. A lot of overlap between these two things. Also things like speechcraft. You can just avoid doing the speechcraft mini game until you want to level up, and then if this is a major skill, that's another one that you can use to control your level ups. So yeah, that's kind of my my build leveling tips for this. It's like pick one offensive skill, one defensive skill, and then a whole bunch of other stuff that you don't actually use in combat, but you can control your progression on. That is going to keep the enemies scaled properly with the amount of damage that you're able to take and the amount of damage that you're able to do. Out of the box classes like the warrior and pretty much anything else, they're gonna double and triple up on these offensive abilities and defensive abilities, and that's gonna gimp your character over time. So at level what level am I at now? Level 13. Adept is much more difficult than it was at level 1 for me. You cast out of combat, go into combat, and counter in this game. Yeah, that was the same way in Skyrim then, because you can cast a conjuration spell in Skyrim out of combat, and then you'll get the progression for it once you enter combat. All right. Custom class is always the way to go. Yes, custom class. If you limit your offensive and defensive skills the way that I just told you, you're gonna have a very strong character. The meta, Skyrim, not okay. Gotcha. Yeah, but that's how it works. Okay. Yeah, Oblivion, I'm not sure either. It's been, you know, however old this game is, like 2005 or something. Like it's probably 2005 last time I played a Conjure in Oblivion. And you know that I gravitate toward the warrior classes and subclasses as well. You're getting oh yeah, I'm dropping frames over here. It's not the game, it's the stream. Yeah, let me do that. Just a second. Settings, output. Looks like I'm dipping down to 4 kilobits per second, so we'll do that. All right, that should clear up in a second. 2006. Still dropping frames, but it's going to normalize here quickly. Yeah, my internet's just really fucked up today. I'm sorry in advance. We're probably gonna get some buffering. But the true meta in this game is it's really exploitative. It's kind of dumb. Just don't put anything that you actually use in the major skills. If you only use minor skills for actual gameplay, combat, everything else, You're never going to level up past level 1. Your skills are going to be through the roof, but enemies are still going to be stuck at level 1. You're going to be overpowered. That's the easiest way to have the most broken build in this game, is just don't use anything in your major skills. Simple as that. Everything, so like the internet is just tanking today. You can drink at 16 in most places in Europe. Yeah, they're a little more hands off with the alcohol there, I guess. Yeah, so you'll never level up, which is kind of the whole point of playing an RPG, right? People play RPGs to work on their build and level up and get more powerful. You will get more powerful, you just won't level up. So I don't know. Yeah. Take that how you will. I think a good balance between, yeah, you know, being able to level up and here we go. We got a Atronach. Didn't put my helmet on, but that's okay. Let's do an Oblivion gate, huh? Meta is what I meant. Yeah, no, well, you gotta balance it. Some people are like power gamers that try to find the most broken shit as soon as possible. I think the ARPG genre, like Diablo, Path of Exile, Last Epoch, they're typically more probably suited for those games where that's what those games are designed to do. One thing that also makes this game easier that I've noticed, these Clanfear in the original game, they will tear your weapon and armor durability apart. In the original game, my armor and weapons right now from blocking and taking those leaping headbutt attacks, they would probably be at 50% durability now. So you would have to either bring like a ton of extra backup weapons and backup armor with you to an Oblivion gate, or just like a massive amount of repair hammers. So that's one thing that they did in this game. I don't know if it's a Clanfear scaling thing. I think it's just a more overall weapon durability. They scaled that back a lot. So your weapon and armor durability it decreases much more slowly than it did in the original game. Yeah, so a lot of people, they're power gamers, right? And they do play these games, like the BGS games. They will play the BGS games for probably a couple weeks and realize that they got overpowered super quickly, and they'll get their power gamer snootiness and say, yeah, I already broke that game already. I'm a god level gamer. They don't realize that it's way too easy to become overpowered in these games if that's all you're trying to do. That's not the point of these games. For me, it's a balance of, okay, I want to find a nuanced play style, something that I haven't played before, and then add some things to it, tweak some things so that it's viable on the highest difficulty level. This is how I play Skyrim anyway. Oblivion, it's very hard to do that on the highest difficulty level. It's way harsher. And then I'll start adding some roleplay aspects to it, like backstory and things like that, and then you really get into an immersive gameplay experience, and that's what I go for the BGS games. I like a good balance of, you know, character building, RPG elements, as far as a character roleplay, and then just trying to find something novel that hasn't been done in the game yet and make it viable. It's a fun challenge to make it viable on the hardest difficulties. Oh, in the gates you can see where you're heading, both sides. Man, they made Oblivion look great. I always love a Hellscape in these new games with crazy graphics. Doom does it well, Diablo does it well. That's like, and then Oblivion, of course, had the Oblivion gates. Skyrim didn't really feature Oblivion gates, but there were a couple of Realms of Oblivion, mostly in the CC stuff, which is just it's not the same as if the original developer does it with when they have all the new art and everything, these large art teams that they're paying to completely remake all the assets. Modders just don't really have access to that like a full AAA studio will. Now, these Oblivion gates are great places to get loot. Okay, so you see that spell that's being cast over me when I land a power attack? That's actually a shield spell, and that is a perk from the I think it's the blunt skill tree. So the way perks work in this game, perks are in this game, you just don't get to pick them like you do in Skyrim. They added tower turret. Those were there in the originals. The fireball turrets or the firebolt turrets. Yeah, they were always there. And then you got the landmines here too, that hop up, spin out, and then throw a firebolt at you. Yeah, these were always there. Easy to avoid because the projectile's slow and it doesn't really track well. While Morrowind is more of a story-driven yeah, for sure. They really shifted to gameplay, which I think is what made Skyrim such a smash hit success, because it is really fun to play above and beyond Morrowind and Oblivion. So it really spoke to the mainstream audiences more than the older games did. So yeah, perks in this game. There are perks, but you only get them by leveling up 25 levels in whatever skill. So for armor here, every 25 levels, you start at novice, you get cannot repair magic items, which is not really a perk. But once you get to level 25, you get a perk, an apprentice perk that allows you to repair magic items. And then at level 50, your repair hammers last twice as long. With blunt here, at level 25, power attacks deal more damage, and blunt weapons are more durable, so you're spending less repair hammers on it. And then at level 50, this is the shield. It's kind of like a spell scribe type thing where, you know, in Ordinator, you have spells that you can trigger through power attacks. This is kind of the same thing, but you have to actually land the power attack to get the shield on there. So you'll see me try to land that early on, and it only lasts a few seconds, but it does help with defense quite a bit. Hey, Boon23, welcome, buddy. Is it a dream come true to play a beautiful and modern? It absolutely is. I played this game for hundreds of hours, which back in the day, for me to play a game for hundreds of hours, it just didn't happen. I did it with Final Fantasy VII in college. I did it with Diablo 1 in college, and I did it with this game, and that was really it. And now I have like thousands of hours in Skyrim, and I have like a couple hundred hours in a couple other games. Because now that I don't have to go to work, or go to school and go to work and go to and do homework, I have a little extra time in my day that I can use to play video games. So back in the day, it was rare for me to have hundreds of hours, but Oblivion was one of those. Swerve, welcome, buddy. Congrats on the 1.0 of your Starfield mod list. That's awesome. Big milestone. I watched the that trailer video. It's pretty hype. Oh, it's dark in here. So yeah, durability is something that has been toned down a little bit. Probably, yeah. The durability system. Ooh, a warhammer. More of an axe guy, but I'll take the warhammer. I got the encumbrance for it. Yeah, the durability systems, those were harsh in the original game. So glad to see them tone that down. 1.0 is out next month, so it's not quite done yet. I gotcha, okay. It was just a trailer for it. Whose house? Swerve's house. Oh my goodness. paying more attention to chat than I was the masher here. For whatever reason, I'm not getting the sound effects on this. They're usually that clicking, like, gear sound effects. Yeah, so we get vastly improved graphics, a lot more amenities as far as like settings go. We got the frame gen, we got DLSS, lots of ways to get your frame rate up there and running smooth. The one thing that we did not get were new sounds. No new sounds at all. Yeah, these caged prisoners sometimes have some good loot on them. So the economy in this game is pretty vastly scaled down from Skyrim. Skyrim, it's a lot easier to make just a ton of money really quickly. In this game, it takes a little more work, especially at lower levels, and you know you spend more time at lower levels. Mythic Dawn Guard, huh? Take the boots, soul gem, everything else you can leave. So when you can find a decent source of loot, you really got to take advantage of it. Right now I'm at 7,500 gold, which is a lot at this level. I really need to spend that on some training. I just haven't found the proper trainers wherever I'm at. I've been trying to do a more organic roleplay playthrough and not trying to power game too much. So a lot of these levels aren't inflated that high. Visually, the remaster continues to impress you. Yeah, so I'm running like ray traced lighting and global illumination on all this. And I'm running frame gen to get the frame rates up to around 120 frames per second, and it's working really well. A game, it looks beautiful. There's still a certain amount of jank to it, of course, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah, I'm all in on this game. This playthrough, if I'm sitting down just to relax and play a video game, this is what I'm playing right now, probably for next few weeks. Not to say that I've abandoned Skyrim or anything. Still playing that, still working on my thief build guide, still working on my pyromancer. Oh, do I have a shield there? It's probably a little bit of a glitch working off of the torch. Yeah, if I do it this way with the one-handed weapon. There's the shield. Oh boy. Now I don't have the shield anymore. But I don't need the torch. This is a little more illuminated. I envy you for your Oblivion experience. I would love to jump in there, but to make videos for it would take me hundreds of hours that I just don't have. Yeah, it's true. I mean, the legacy Oblivion players are going to have a huge advantage when it comes to at least guides and stuff. Or like, you like to do the strategic walkthroughs, Boone, so it's like, if you're trying to be strategic or tactical at all, you really kind of have to have the experience in this stuff so you know what to tell your audience. But it is still just Oblivion through and through, so people who have played the game for, you know, hundreds of hours will be able to make content for it really quickly, while people who are new to the game just not going to be able to match that level of knowledge. Yeah, I said in one of the discords, I think I'm going to do a leveling tips and tricks kind of pseudo guide for this, basically just summarizing all the information that I just told you about how the meta works with the leveling system in this. I don't know how well the video is going to do. The algorithm really doesn't like when I do anything that's not Skyrim. I just don't get many impressions on it at all, so I don't know if this is going to be any different. Oh, that's nice. I'm not getting any kind of topography on that at all. Didn't I see Slap pick this up? Yeah, I think he, it wasn't really like a walkthrough style. It was more a Let's Play for him. There was nothing like too formalized as far as the structure was for that. Still looking forward to playing Sky Oblivion? Yeah, of course. More excited for it now. I hope it still comes out this year. Yeah, I think it will. All indications are that BGS has been supporting them in their efforts, not only not getting in the way, but actually helping them with stuff. So I don't know if it's coming out this year. It's a huge project that they've been working on for a very long time. So, you know, delays happen, but they're still full bore on it, full speed ahead. I would say that is definitely coming out. I think it's imminent. Just whether or not it's going to come out by the end of this year or not is a little more to be seen. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I think everybody is. I think there's room in the player base for both. This one will be a more mainstream success. It already has been. I think I saw that it sold over 2 million copies in the first 28 hours, which is great even for a new AAA blockbuster game, right? But for a game that's 20 years old at this point, with remastered graphics, is absolutely amazing. I think it just goes to show how hungry people are for an actual single-player Elder Scrolls experience. And it doesn't hurt that the word of mouth on this is amazing right now. The buzz on this is really all good, except for, you know, the performance issues, which are native to Unreal Engine 5, and I'm sure they'll patch it as they go. There's already been patches for it, which has done more harm than good for some people, but that's just the nature of patches. I haven't really noticed much in the way of improvements or degradations. Yeah, here's the landmines that shoot you. And I'm about to die. And I'm gonna die, for sure. This would be the first time I've ever died in this game. Fortify health, yeah, I need that. Strong potion of healing, we'll do 2 of those. Gonna need that fire shield. Do I have any weaker? I do. And I'm done. So this game also, like, limits how many potions you can take at once. Yeah, like I said, at level 1, that would have been a non-issue. At level 13, all the fire traps there. The way to deal with those fire traps is to hit them with some kind of projectile or something. But the warrior doesn't really have any projectiles. Ah! Block, you fool. Oh, that's the summon one. Ignore the summon. Go right for the summoner. The words every summoner hates to hear. Ignore the summon. Go after the caster. Probably made Magus pucker a little bit. Good news with the Oblivion remaster is that it's going to really pad out Bethesda's piggy bank, which means they'll have more funding for it. Yeah, people hated Starfield, right? A lot of people hated Starfield, but that thing sold more than it sold better than Skyrim did at launch. I don't think their coffers are hurting at all, which is part of the problem, right? They, you know, they put out stuff that people see as inferior to their previous product, but then they just keep buying the new stuff anyway. We'll see how this pans out. I don't really see this completely outselling Starfield, at least at first, depending on how the modding takes over. It might end up outselling Starfield, or modding takes off, I guess. Sorry, I'm trying to talk and play at the same time, and the game is getting harder, even at adept difficulty. There we go. I think maybe... I might have a flame spell or something that I can use for this. Here we go. Nope, that didn't work. Just gotta be careful, I guess. Ah! Bethesda has a very particular audience as well. Yeah, I mean, every new game they have gets hate. This game hasn't gotten hate. Oblivion, when it released, got a lot of hate for being janky and for having bugs and for being, quote, wide as an ocean but deep as a puddle, which is a complaint that's been leveraged at every single Bethesda game, which, you know, people like to conveniently forget when they talk about Starfield and they throw out that complaint like it's something new. It's not. People have said that about every single Bethesda game that's ever come out. Especially Oblivion and beyond. Yeah, the same complaints about Oblivion. Oblivion was hated on when it came out, especially by Morrowind players. Skyrim got a lot of hate too, especially from Oblivion players. But as with anything, the loudest people are not always the majority of the people. They're just the angriest, so they get heard more. But for the remaster, yeah, it's been pretty overwhelmingly positive from what I've seen. But Starfield was too in its first week. People love Starfield for a few weeks. People just hate new things, they do. Haven't really heard anyone rip it apart yet. They're likely super idiots. Yeah, I mean, I don't really... I don't really hate on people for their opinions for the most part, but when they start presenting their opinions as fact, then I start having a hard time. I kind of start tuning out at that point. It more becomes a, you know, I disagree, to, you know what, I'm done. So I don't really mind if, you know, people criticize the game, because this game is not perfect, right? It still has all the same, aside from, you know, smoothing out some of the stuff with the leveling and the progression systems and the difficulty scale and making things more accessible. It's still Oblivion, and Oblivion had some things that were wrong with it. Agree to disagree? Opinions are valid to those who have opinions. How's the game performing for you? It's fine. I get traversal stutter. So while I'm moving, it doesn't do the greatest job of loading in, streaming new assets in. It's a problem that Unreal Engine 5 has in most games. It was way worse in Black Myth Wukong than it is in this game. I am running frame gen on it, and I have the frame cap set or capped at 120 frames per second, and it's pretty smooth for the most part. Grumpy Kid, hey, I haven't seen that name in a while. Downloading it right now, excited to give it a go. Yeah, it's good. If you have a fairly decent PC, I don't know, but I've heard stories of, you know, people with 16 gigabytes of RAM and older, like, mid-range to low-end graphics cards having a lot of problems running this game. That's more of an Unreal Engine 5 issue. That's, yeah, I wouldn't say that's an Oblivion issue, but Oblivion did have performance issues even on newer hardware. The original did, so. One thing I've noticed, though, I don't have Riva Tuner turned on right now, so I can't show you what my stats look like. But one thing I've noticed is that it does seem to be spreading the CPU load over a lot of my cores. So they're doing that pretty well, and a lot of Unreal Engine games don't do that. Most Bethesda games don't do that. So whatever Virtuous did, whatever Black Magic Virtuous did on this, they're getting full CPU utilization on it, which is great. Usually just like one or two threads are getting torn apart while the rest of them are like unused. You really need that 32 gigabyte system RAM on this one, or set settings low. Yeah, and even on low, the game's gonna look great. I have all the bells and whistles turned on as far as like ray trace lighting and shadows and global illumination and stuff goes. So this is gonna look better than if you have that stuff turned off, but it still is gonna look great. I haven't seen any doors or ways into that tower there. What I'm thinking is I probably missed a turn in that cavern that I was in, that I probably just ran past. It's been close to 20 years since I've played this game. So especially a lot of the Oblivion gates and stuff I'm going to be lost in. Back in the day, so these are copy pasted POIs like Starfield has, right? The dungeons in Oblivion are copied and reused all over the place. The Oblivion gates are copied and reused all over the place. Probably Oblivion has a better excuse because of, you know, it was kind of cutting edge when that happened, and people were impressed that they were just getting that much content on a DVD for the Xbox or whatever. Xbox 360, I think, is what this came on. So yeah, the technology where it was, they kind of got a pass for reusing their POIs. Starfield is not getting the same pass because, you know, it's 2025 now, and that's understandable. I get it. But yeah, the dungeons are definitely copy pasted, so you know, once you've been through them once or twice, then you've been through all of them, and you can really find your way through it much more easily. Okay, I've already been here. I've been so obsessed with Starfield that Oblivion will be a good palate cleanser for me. There you go. Silent Echo, welcome, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Ooh, this is new. Take a sit. I'll have to take a sit later. Ran with a 5700 XT 3600X on medium settings, averaged above 60 FPS at all times. Yeah, okay, great. So yeah, the lower hardware is doable. You got to be willing to turn those settings down. Maybe reduce your resolution a little bit too. I'm obviously going to be running a Paladin build because it's OP, but I'm seeing that Arcane Archer builds will be good as well. Awesome, yeah. That's another difference, is how magic is cast in this game as opposed to Skyrim. You can have both of your hands occupied, two things, and still be able to cast magic. Magic works like powers and shouts do in Skyrim, where you have a separate button that you can just cast a shout regardless of your equipment status on, you know, what weapons, shield. You can have anything equipped and you can still cast a spell. And you can fight underwater. That's very true. Great for Argonians out there. Spend a lot of time in the drink. Can't fight in Skyrim. There are mods to do that, of course, but there's a lot of jank to it. More jank than there is in janky-ass Oblivion underwater combat, that's for sure. And you can also jump attack. That's another thing. So in the original Oblivion, I think you had to get acrobatics to level 25 before you could jump attack, and now they just give it to you right out of the gate, which is nice. A lot of people would consider that a core gameplay function, jump attacking, and Bethesda loves locking that core gameplay stuff behind perks for whatever reason. Like in Starfield, the jetpack stuff is like severely gimped unless you take perks for it. I don't even think you can use a jetpack or a jump pack in Starfield without taking a perk, which is kind of a shame because it's so fundamentally core to what that game is. The fortify spells with restoration. Yep. Argonians are best race. I love Argonia. The last Oblivion playthrough I had, I think I was just trying to get the achievements in the PS3 version of it. I played an Argonian. A lot of fun. He was quick. I was using short swords for the most part and light armor, and I was using my agility to just, you know, use footwork to dance in and out of ranges. Good stuff. A lot of fun. I think that's where I came in at. Like my Altmer too, but Argonians always will be my favorite. Not always most used, of course. Yeah. Argonians come with a lot of baggage, typically. It's a hard life for an Argonian player. If you're doing a pure Argonian playthrough, like Boone and Major Slack were doing, it is challenging. I don't think it's nearly as hard as what Slack was making it out to be, because obviously he did it. I think he just didn't want to do it because the playstyle didn't speak to him. He wasn't going to have fun with it. So I don't think it's nearly as hard as he was making it out to be, and then I think Boone proved that. But the combination of skills for Argonians for a pure playthrough, just it leaves a lot of gaps, right? A lot of things you wish you had that you don't have. Not a lot of offensive output stuff unless you're doing Ordinator. You have access to unarmed in the light skill tree, light armor skill tree. But for pure vanilla, it's rough doing a challenge run like that. And then, of course, with all the games, the Argonians, the model is so, like, different with any beast race, really. So a lot of armors, just, like, modded armors and stuff don't work with it. And you get some bugginess even with the vanilla armors sometimes not showing up correctly or clipping weird. My character looks too real. he does. I mean, the hair and actually the facial models in this game, if you're creating your own character anyway, they look great. You get a lot of really, really ugly characters in the NPCs, but you can actually make a fantastic looking character. The facial models are awesome. The hair looks fantastic in this game. Very good looking hair. The only thing we're missing as far as character models go is physics on the armor and the hairs. I would have liked to have seen that, but I kind of understand how that might have been too big of a lift for them, especially with the, you know, trying to get performance to target certain frame rates. Facial models here better than Starfield 2. Starfield facial models I think are pretty good. They're not at the level of like Cyberpunk for sure. That was like top tier facial models. I would say the Oblivion remake is better, in my opinion, than Starfield, but not by a ton. Not by a ton. The beard and the hairs I think look better in this too than they do in Starfield. But I wouldn't say the Starfield models look bad at all. I think they look pretty good overall. Default warrior class. Yeah, the default warrior. So I picked an out of the box class because I just wanted to get the full physics, beard physics. Yes, we need beard physics. I wanted to get the full experience, the full out of the box experience to see just how they changed balance on this, because playing a pure warrior out of the box in OG Oblivion was, especially just trying to keep it on the middle difficulty levels, was nearly impossible unless you're really micromanaging the skills that you're using and how you're leveling up. But in this, it's been playable on Adept up to this point. It is getting vastly more difficult as the level goes up and the enemies scale harsher and harsher, because there are so many offensive skills that you're spreading your leveling over blade, blunt, and hand-to-hand, that each one is relatively weaker as you level up compared to your enemies who are focused on, you know, probably just one output, one offensive output skill. Constant left-facing running and less pathetic. You know, I'm not sure. I haven't been back in Skyrim for a few months, or Starfield for a few months. They've been suspiciously quiet. I think just because they're trying to stay out of the backlash for a lot of it, because that's been just completely constant. But also because I think they're working on something big. They did expand the team that's working on their stuff, so they're not abandoning Starfield by any means. They probably do have a new DLC coming. In fact, Todd confirmed it, that they were still working on that second DLC. Probably the Starborn leak that we saw. But I think what they're working on right now is a PlayStation 5 port. I think that's the biggest thing that they got going right now that's going to beef up their revenue for the game more than anything else. Is opening up basically the biggest platform of gamers that is available to any publisher on the PlayStation 5. And I think that will reinvigorate the game. They'll get a lot more interest in it. And of course, that's not just going to be a port. I feel like they're going to have a lot more, probably some gameplay additions and some new features and stuff added to it. And they'll probably have an announcement for the DLC coming. If not, you know, releasing for PS5 at the same time that they release the next expansion. They got dinged for the Shattered Space DLC because it was kind of light, and it was. I don't think it was quite as light as people were saying. I never finished it. I'm about 22 hours into it, and there's still stuff to explore and things to do, and people were saying, oh, it was only like 3 hours worth of content. That's completely fucking rage clickbait. That's there's a lot more to it than that. But there were a lot of like new gameplay features and stuff that just were missing compared to something like Dragonborn or Dawn Guard. But they had been doing releases, like feature releases and stuff. They had the improved map, they had the buggy, they had the melee crafting overhaul, melee improvements. If they would have just saved that for the DLC, I think the backlash would have been much more reduced. And I think that's what they're doing now, is they're not just releasing everything as they make it. They're gonna save it all for one big drop. And we'll see. People are still hate them, but that's just how it is. What difficulty? I'm still on Adept right now. Yeah, using a class, a non-custom class in this game, you're not gonna go much higher than Adept unless you're really micromanaging your level ups. They improved the accessibility of the difficulty on this game with some of the ways that you level up and how some of the skills work, and the weapon degradation systems and stuff have been toned down. But it is still just Oblivion at the end of the day. Speaking of weapon degradation, I think I probably need to go through and repair some of my stuff on this. I don't need that bone either. Get that shield. There we go. Yeah, and Atronachs don't explode in this game like they do in Skyrim when they die. For the first 2 or 3 of these that, yeah, Master is insane. You have to use exploits. You have to exploit the leveling system to even have a chance to play on the higher difficulty levels. Yeah, the first 2 or 3 times that I encountered a Flame Atronach, and when I finally beat him, I was sprinting away from them, like, oh shit, I'm gonna explode. But no, they just never did. I'm sure that's happened to a lot of people who've spent thousands of hours in Skyrim since they played Oblivion as well. Got to imagine. So I'm on an interesting diet, and rather than calorie counting, I'm concerning myself with mass. The idea is if I'm releasing more mass than I consume, I will lose mass myself. Interesting. But then you have some foods that are more nutrient dense for their mass, though, right? Like sugar is going to have a lot more calories in it at the same weight than like a carrot or celery. There we go. This looks like our exit because I haven't looted that yet. Is the shield from blunt weapons any good? The shield from blunt weapons. Oh, it's okay. I think it's just your standard shield spell. Let's see. I don't even think I have the shield spell, but I think it's just the novice level shield spell. If you already have armor, it's just gonna increase that. Woad is Oh, it does shield as well. 30%? No, the shield is just the effect. It's not the... I don't know. Okay, let's do this. Next time I have an enemy, I'm gonna power attack it, and then I'm going to... Wait a minute. Am I going the right way? I feel like I'm going back downhill and backtracking here. Oh my god! Just trying to walk around that boulder? That's insane. And not wait with enemies nearby, so I'm probably in the right spot. Alright, let's go back in and we'll just wait to recover health on that. Yeah, next time I encounter an enemy, I'll do a power attack and we'll take a look at active effects and see if I can see anything on it. It only lasts for a few seconds, so I gotta be quick on it. You got Orcish helmet before, why not wear that? Oh, we have an Orcish helmet? This is what happens when you stream and play at the same time. You just start not paying as much attention. Oh, hell yeah. That's a 3 armor rating instead of the 3 armor rating. Well, it'll go better. It's not enchanted or anything, so... as well just wear it, huh? Yeah, now we're looking more berserker here. Weirdly enough, the Orcish stuff looks a lot like the Viking flavored stuff from like Skyrim mods and stuff like that, with the monocled helmets and the fur around the scales and stuff. This looks like the Christine Dragon or the Izmir armor, specifically the Izmir armor from Skyrim. Just without the horns on the helmet. Great. I gotta try to find a way around this. Oh, there you go. Yeah, go ahead and kill yourselves on the rocks. Oh, did I make it? Did I get it? Shield, here we go. 14%. That's not bad. For 5 seconds. Yeah, I think it's worth it. This is the level 50 blunt perk. Mongolian, it does look Mongolian. Yeah, not too bad. Worth it, worth it. You get boosted power attacks anyway in the skill for, I think, the level 25 perk. So you should be using the power attacks. Oh, another thing. They overhauled the animations for this. The animations are on a visual level anyway better than they are in Skyrim. Each weapon type has a different animation, whereas in Skyrim every one-handed weapon is swung exactly the same way as every other one-handed weapon. They added behaviors that they can hook animations into, kind of like animated armory. So a battle axe here is going to have different animations, power attack animations, than a greatsword will. See, these are like more vertical slices. And then the power attack is kind of a circular swing there. And then with the battle axe, these are more horizontal slices. And then with the great sword, when he did the swing, it came up and back around over his head. This one, the power attack just kind of stays underneath. And then of course you get the sprinting power attacks that of course we didn't have in the original game because there was no sprint in the original game, which is another huge improvement in my opinion, just getting from place to place, being able to sprint. That's one of the biggest issues I had with Fallout New Vegas, because I played Skyrim before I played Fallout New Vegas, and then I went back. Fallout New Vegas is kind of a downgrade in the engine and gameplay department from Skyrim. So just, you know, walking through the endless deserts of Fallout New Vegas and not being able to sprint from place to place was just, it was such a drag after playing Skyrim. So that was one of the things I was worried about with this, was having to play this game again and not being able to get from point A to point B in a timely manner. And now that they have the sprint system, and with athletics as a skill that actually increases your speed and the speed attribute, you can actually go much faster on foot than you can on a horse. So, you know, there's really, other than just the role-playing aspect of it, if you want to be a horsey boy, there's no reason to use a horse in this game. You can't fight off of horseback or on horseback like you can in Skyrim, and that was actually an added-on feature later on. I think it was either Dawnguard or the Hearthfire. I think it was Hearthfire that added in the horse combat. Horses suck. Yeah, they're not great. They don't go that fast. And like I said, you can't fight when you're on them. Oh, I'm still burning. Not much, though. Got another armored boy over here. No, we got a clan fear, though. Oh, yeah, clan fear. Weapon durability. I gotta go through and repair all my stuff. Probably getting degraded damage output and protection, because my stuff is all busted. Yeah, so that was another thing that I was afraid of coming into this game, was the weapon degradation system was always a big pain in the butt in this game. But yeah, like I said, they toned it down vastly. So that with the sprint, I'm a pretty happy camper. The gameplay improvements that they made to this game are all very, very welcome, very well done. They knocked this one out of the park. Virtuos is now on my map. They did a good job. I'm looking for some repair hammers here. I saw them, I just missed them. Here we go. So yeah, all the way down to 69. Nice. So it wasn't nearly as bad. Yeah, if this were the original game, like half of my stuff would be broken right now. At least that's the way I remember it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like degradation in the original game was way more harsh than it is in the remake here. There we go. Operating at full capacity now. Plus, riding a horse, you miss out on so much ingredients. Yeah, you don't have like the convenient horses mod where you just kind of park your horse over the top of an ingredient and are able to pick it up. Or even the third-person selection mod, which gives you more reach in third person on what you can interact with. Need to recharge your axe. I'm not even sure I have a filled soul gem to recharge it with. I know I have a few soul gems, but I don't know if any of them are... Oh man, I should have just taken the fire bolt. The spikes that came out at me hurt me a lot worse than their flame attack would. Alright, let's see if I have anything that I can use to recharge my axe. I do have other weapons here that do have charge. I could just move them out. Yeah, those are all empty. I don't got anything to recharge it with. But like I said, I can actually switch that out. But I do want to, yeah, no, I'm focusing on blunt skill right now. I don't want to spread my offense too thin at the moment. So I'll probably just stick with the axe. I could go to the hammer though. Much heavier, but I get a couple more points. Yeah, I'll just stick with the axe. It's not like in Skyrim. So the skills are, the weapon skills are blade and blunt. So swords, daggers, and then axes and maces and warhammers are all blunt. So that's a different type. But yeah, one-handed and two-handed weapons aren't really separated by your skills anymore. So blunt is going to affect both maces and warhammers and war axes and battle axes. And then blade is going to take care of your great swords, your long swords, your short swords, and your daggers. Gonna uninstall Skyrim temporarily to install Oblivion Remastered because I just need to get an external hard drive. Yeah, careful with that though, because especially with open world games, using an external hard drive to put them on, you're gonna get a lot of, you know, traversal stutter, and it's gonna be a lot harder to stream all the info that it needs off the disk if you're doing it externally. Not as bad as Breath of the Wild. Yeah, that's probably the main reason I stopped playing that game, because all the weapons were disposable in that game. So like half the time you're fighting with this badass sword, and then the other half of the time you're fighting with a branch. It just didn't do it for me. Henry Cover, I remember when I fought against ogres in old Oblivion, my lower level light armors got destroyed pretty much with just one or two. Yeah, especially against those clan fears. For whatever reason, those clan fear headbutt attacks, they would just wipe out your durability like crazy. Skyrim was a test for Fallout 4, and Fallout 4 was a test for... Yeah, no, they always port their previous game over to whatever new platform they're running on, and pretty much everything just runs on the same platform anymore as far as the instruction sets and you know, running on 64-bit hardware and everything now. So that original port is more trivial than it was. But yeah, when they do their new game, they always start with their older game as a base. Ooh, that was almost real bad. Almost real bad. Which most of my complaints with Starfield, not all of them, but most of my complaints about Starfield came from Fallout 76. They kind of removed the AI packages for the denizens of a lot of the cities, so none of them really operate on a schedule anymore, which is much more MMO than it is single-player RPG, and a vast departure from what we had is from Elder Scrolls and, you know, Fallout. The other thing is the loot system. They took the loot system from Fallout 76 to where you can't just loot everything off of an enemy that they had equipped. Now it only kind of selects like randomly what they're going to give you. For the most part, you get their weapon, and you might get a piece of their armor if you're lucky, but most of the time you don't even get that. I wish they'd go back to the older system of just everything that enemy had equipped, you can loot it. Those were probably the two main complaints that I had that came from Fallout 76. The rest, you know, the POI repetition, you know, that gets dry. It gets just as dry for me as it does everybody else. And then the loading screens, of course. I mean, there are a lot of loading screens, and if you're fast traveling everywhere, you're obviously going to see them a lot more than you would if you weren't. But that game really is kind of designed around fast travel. Ooh, okay. Do I have a load? I do. But at least as far as the loading screens go, the vast majority of consoles that people are playing on have super fast storage speeds, and if you're running a halfway decent PC, you can get around the storage stuff. The things that they can't fix about Starfield is just people just not liking the writing.
Feed me the Lord.
Didn't really like the story. I actually was quite partial to the way that they handled Starfield's writing, because it gave me a lot of room to roleplay my own story, whatever I wanted to do. The story elements were really light in that game, which people see as a weakness, but the way I play these games, I thought it was a strength. It doesn't give you a lot of direction, which I think was actually by design. If you're wanting to tell your own story and roleplay your own character, you don't really want a lot of heavy-handed, directed storytelling. You want to just give them this world, give them this established lore, and then let them go do what they want to do. But that did not resonate with a lot of people. I'm going to uninstall Skyrim. I won't put games on an external hard drive. I'll put everything else on. Okay, cool. Be interesting to see how sales go if when... Yeah, I think it'll be a huge success for them. There are a lot of people on the PS5 platform that were upset that they weren't able to play that game. Of course, with renewed interest in it, we're going to get a renewed hate campaign on it too. That's the way it goes. I'm level 23 and I haven't entered into a... You have not entered a single Oblivion gate? Dude, you're missing out on the sigil stones. Only retired the amulet. Oh, okay. Or returned the amulet, I think you're saying. Plus, I don't want to go to the gates till level 17 so I can get the best sigil stones. There you go. There are... that's one way to do it, right? The sigil stones do get stronger with higher levels. But so do the enemies. Like I was saying earlier, that the enemy level scaling in this game is way harsher than it is in Skyrim. So the power gains that you make in this game are often either just, you know, absorbed by the enemy scaling or overshadowed by the enemy scaling. So I still do just take the greedy approach with the sigil stones. Just because if I don't take the power now, I may not even ever really see it later because of how strong the enemies get. So legendary enemies mod from Skyrim has been a treat for me. It adds for some more powerful enemies and makes enchanted items more accessible. I've fought bears with over 1,000 HP. That sounds awesome. Legendary enemies. I'll have to keep that in mind. A lot of the Starfield criticism has been internet cred and views. A lot of stop liking what I don't like. Yeah, I've noticed the same thing too. It's hard to find just general Starfield. It's hard to just talk about the game on a game level, right? You can't really talk about what you're doing with your character or how you're role playing or talk about your build because the entire conversation is dominated by this is why this game sucks and you should hate it too, or Starfield is the best game in the world and all the haters are smoking crack. The whole discourse was around whether or not the game was good, not around what you were doing when you were actually playing it. And that was the most depressing part of it for me. It's like, I just wanted to talk about my builds. I wanted to talk about what I was doing with roleplay on it, and everybody else just wanted to talk about how bad the game was or how the game was actually really good. It's like after a couple weeks, you should know whether or not you like the game, and if you don't like it, then don't play it. If you do like it, then talk about the game. Don't like just go do online wrestling matches on Reddit whether or not the game was good. Good is absolutely subjective. You're allowed to not like the game. You're allowed to love the game. You're once you start saying the game is objectively bad or the game is objectively the best game in the world, then it's like, okay, I'm out. The world's okayest game. Yeah, and that's kind of what I liked about it. What I was saying earlier is the motivations in the game were so mild. The game doesn't like compel you to do, like in Oblivion here. If you're doing an immersive roleplay of this game, this Oblivion crisis should be your #1 top priority. Anybody who has the power to deal with this needs to deal with this as soon as possible. The same with the dragons in Skyrim. The same with finding your son in Fallout 4. The same with finding your father in Fallout 3. Starfield doesn't have any of that. You're just a guy who finds something awesome, and now it's like the whole point of the game is just to explore and figure out what this thing is. That's it, right? So there is very little motivation to do any of the story stuff in the game, which I think a lot of people really didn't like, but for me, I liked it a lot because now I get to tell my own story and I get to play my own character however I want. In Skyrim, one of my favorite mods is Skyrim Unbound, because you don't have to be Dragonborn. It's an alternate start mod where you can just turn dragons off in the game. You can live in Skyrim. You don't have any compulsion to do anything you don't want to do, and that was so liberating for me. I was like, whoa, I can just be a traveling merchant, or I could just be a laborer who is, you know, mining ore from town to town or chopping wood, trying to eke by a living. And then if I decide I, you know, want to start hunting bandits or something, then I can progress the story that way. That was very freeing for me, and Starfield has that freedom from the very beginning. So yeah, being the like middest game, it actually was a strength for me. Let's see. The infusion mod would add infusion to effects like ESO. Just spoil the Fallout games that came out 10 years ago that I'll never play. Yeah. Sorry, I guess, I think. I think they compare Starfield games to like the Souls games. Yeah, Starfield had the best gameplay of all BGS games in my opinion. I didn't really like how they handled a lot of the melee stuff, but as far as the gunplay went, the way the game ran and the way, you know, the enemy AI was and everything, it was pretty good. So for me, we got a huge graphical update with Starfield over Skyrim and Fallout 76. We got some really good gameplay improvements. We got a more open-ended roleplay experience. So I was a super happy camper. That's like all I really wanted. And then like the POI repetition and loading screens and stuff, because the loading screens were quick, and the POI stuff, you can just avoid it if you don't want to do that. Yeah, that stuff just didn't register as hard for me as it did for some other people. Yeah, I mean, people are always going to compare apples and oranges, like things that really shouldn't be compared. Like I got a lot of comparisons from Starfield to Cyberpunk. Avowed recently had a lot of a hate train on it because, you know, people were comparing it to Oblivion. But they're completely different games that are trying to do completely different things. Apples and oranges, yeah. Yeah, I have played the Souls games, and they are completely different experiences than anything BGS is doing. They're not even like the same genre of game, in my opinion. The Avowed devs said it was a Skyrim killer. Well, they gotta try to sell their game, right? The Avowed devs are sitting there silently playing Oblivion Remastered right now. To me, my biggest complaint about Obsidian is they really are making AA games compared to BGS. They just are. The scale of those games, they're not anything close to what the scale of BGS games are. Ooh, that was a big traversal stutter. I'm gonna do a quick save just in case here. The games are just smaller, and in terms of like the graphics, they're not pushing the envelope as much as BGS is, and you know BGS really isn't even known for their graphics either anyway. But they still charge that AAA premium price tag on their games, and their games just aren't worth. You're not going to get as many hours out of an Obsidian game as you are a BGS game, so why am I paying as much money for one? That's my biggest complaint about them. That and just like the exploration and the combat in those games, which are like two of the biggest things that I love about BGS games. They're not on the same level as BGS. Avowed is not nearly as good with exploration or combat. Although the Avowed game looks like they made some huge improvements to combat and exploration, so I'll wait for that to go on sale and I'll give it a shot, but I'm not paying full price for it. Pastor said taint. Of course he did. Pastor's always saying taint. Hearing you talk about it makes me want to give it an actual shot. Talking about Avowed or... Back in the 80s, new games were all... Yeah, but that is also not accounting for inflation. That $50 to $60 was a lot more valuable back then than it was. It was like hundreds of dollars, right? You're paying like 140, 150 of today's dollars for a $50, $60 game back then. Yeah, the prices haven't gone up over the... Yeah, they have not kept up with inflation. So, I mean, games should be more expensive than they are. It's just right now people don't have a lot of money. Everything is super expensive. People aren't making more money than they were to offset the inflation. So it's like it feels worse now to pay $80 for a game than it felt, you know, to pay 50 or 60 when 10 years ago. Lag again? Oh yeah, it's not as bad as it was. I think this is temporary. You were buying 2 new games a week back then? Holy shit. I'd buy 2 new games a year. It's already coming back up. I think we're good. Remember when you could buy games like used games at a rental yeah, Blockbuster. Yeah, we used to have used games. There was a store called Gamers over here that had a few different locations, and they just had huge stacks of old NES games that they were letting go for like $7 a pop. And they would get them from like old rental places like Blockbuster or Hollywood Video. Man, I've missed Blockbuster. People complained about Blockbuster a lot, but I just loved going into a storefront like that and looking at all the different covers on all the different DVDs and VHS and whatever else, and just picking out a movie to watch, or a few movies to watch over the weekend, or picking out a new game to play. Yeah, back when I couldn't afford games, my family, like I said, we'd buy like 2 games a year because $50 was a lot of money back then. We would rent games for the weekend for our NES and Genesis, and we would have the old favorites that we'd rent like every week, but then we'd always like try something new. Those were the days. Get games based off of schooling? Oh, you were bribed with video games. Man, that would have worked on me. I was an A student anyway, just because I'm success driven, I think. But so I was self-motivated with the grades, but yeah, I probably would have been valedictorian if my parents bribed me with video games. My room would always be clean too, which it wasn't. Like, you want my room clean? Give me a video game. That would have worked. I don't think my parents had money to do that though. We didn't always get allowance based on whether or not my dad like even had a job or not. If things were going well and he had a good job, we'd get like, I don't know, like $5 or $10 a week for allowance, and that would pay for like candy during the week or whatever. Every once in a while I try to save the stuff up, and I did that when I bought like Mario 3 for the NES. Okay, so what are we doing right now? We are heading to Coral. I gotta try to convince them to spare a few guards for Bruma over here. There's a big Oblivion gate that's gonna open up. We're gonna need as much help as possible to take that thing down. Honestly, you know, the hero of Kvatch could take down the Oblivion gate pretty much by himself, depending on how you level up your character and stuff. In my experience, not a lot of these guards actually make it through that battle. Captain Bird, for whatever, he's kind of an asshole, but he is, you know, I think he's set to essential for different quests and stuff. So he makes it through. So he's kind of a badass, but most of the other rank and file guards just get completely destroyed. Man, KB Toys had a good video game section. Toys R Us had a great video game section back in the day, and then they all kind of just shrunk down to where like Target and Walmart video game sections are now. Yeah, physical video game stuff is like disappearing. Kmart, yeah. That was a Kmart stand back in the day. Kmart was big here before Walmart even appeared in the Phoenix, Arizona area. Children's Palace. Yeah, we had Electronics Boutique. I think you said you worked at EB Games, right, Magus, for a while, if I remember correctly. EB Games came along after Babbage's. Babbage's was the big kind of like mall video game place, and then both of those got bought up by GameStop. And then GameStop, with its public shareholders trying to get more and more profit out of a low margin industry, just kind of tanked the stores. It sucks. Every once in a while you see like a mom and pop place. I'm not going to do another Oblivion gate. I want to progress the story here, so we're going to leave that one open. Funko Land was another one. Yeah, that one got bought up by GameStop out here too. Oh, we got a wolf. Maybe that's a dog. No, that's a wolf. Although, I don't know why the timber wolf is barking at me. Wolves don't bark like dogs do. As far as I know, I think I've read that somewhere. For whatever reason, barking is a dog-only behavior. Oh, we got an imp. Woo. Who swipes with my axe? You remember EB Games and Babbage's? Yeah. Target had a great video game section, at least in my hometown here in Florida. Fittingly enough, I got my copy of Oblivion there. Nice. I actually worked at CompUSA, which is another one that bit the dust a while ago. I worked at CompUSA for like 6 or 7 years. And I was stocking shelves and stuff like that after I, graduated from the customer service desk. And I was able to like not have to deal with customers as much anymore. I went into doing merchandising, so setting up like shelves and getting the new shipments in and out on the floor in an attractive way. So I was able to see all the new games as they came out, and that's back when like video game websites weren't huge yet. So a lot of the news was still percolating through video game magazines. So there wasn't like a big hype marketing machine for a lot of those games. So I would see the games that came out and I'm like, oh, this looks cool as hell. And then I would just buy it at, at cost at the employee discount. And I played a lot of like hidden gems back then. And I got Oblivion that way, but Oblivion was big news among, video game nerds all over the place. That was back when the Xbox original was coming out. And Morrowind was huge on the system. That was huge for Bethesda and Elder Scrolls game, was that Morrowind release on the original Xbox. Everybody was talking about that game. They whimper and make a lot of like howling and whimpering and whining, yipping, which is weird because wolves are like huge and they make small dog sounds. Is that an intact gate up there? Yeah, it is. Man, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. These sigil stones, I don't really wait for them to level up because these Oblivion gates are like everywhere. You're not going to really have a shortage of sigil stones. So I just use them as I get them. Elven War Axe, yeah, buddy. Oh, Battle Axe, actually. Welcome, Vicar. Hope you're doing well. Haven't seen you pop in yet. Twit Boy 3000, welcome. Got a copy of the Game of the Year edition of OG Oblivion for $30 back then. Absolutely inconceivable nowadays. Was that like an Xbox 360 version? Because I know the PlayStation 3 version came out way later. and it had issues like all the PlayStation versions of those older games did. But I actually started on PC. I was mostly a console gamer, but Oblivion I started on PC, and then I moved over to Xbox 360 when I finally got one of those consoles. And I think that the Xbox 360 port was actually better than what I was playing on my PC at the time. It was a mid-range Radeon card. It's like a Radeon 6600 or something. It was a nice card, but yeah, it ran better on Xbox. Yeah, it was. Nice. Over 60 Oblivion gates to close. Yeah. I do remember going through and closing each and every one of them and finding every single PoE and clearing every or POI and clearing every dungeon in the game. Okay, so there's definitely an Oblivion gate right around here. I'm sure the count of here at Coral is gonna want me to close out the gate. Probably upstairs there. Oh no, here we go. We're good. Yeah, remake all these old ones that don't have like 3D engines on them. I'm here for it. I would love to experience the, like, you know, Arena and Daggerfall stories without having to slog through that awful gameplay. Once you hit level 18 to 22, all you see is Daedra. Yeah, and that's part of why the enemy level scaling is so harsh, is that the level shrink on this compared to Skyrim is just huge. Yeah, at level 18 to 22 or whatever you said, right around level 20, you get top level stuff everywhere. Whereas it would take you like, you know, level 50 or 60 or even beyond that in Skyrim to start seeing the top level stuff. Fudge Muppet came out with a build. Yeah, the sorcerer build. I haven't watched it yet. It's still in my watch later queue. I've been watching a lot of content on Expedition 33, actually, that Claire Obscure game, the JRPG style turn-based game. I was saying earlier, I think before you showed up, that if it weren't for Doom Dark Ages coming out next month, I'd be all over that game right now. Oblivion here was shadow dropped, so I'm obsessed with this playthrough right now. I wasn't particularly counting on getting re-obsessed with Skyrim at this point in my life, but here we are. And then Doom is kind of a must play for me when that comes out. But if it weren't for these two games, I would be all over Expedition 33. I think that game looks super interesting to me.
Hello.
Yeah, it was yesterday. Hey. It was yesterday. I saw it. I added it. They actually sounded excited in their narration for it. Yeah, I'll watch it. Their builds aren't bad. A lot of their content is just, you know, regurgitated lore videos and stuff like that these days that they probably already made almost an exact video of it before.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Countess
But to see a
Velda
new sorcerer build in 2025 for Oblivion, yeah, I'm all about it.
I'm in the middle of an investigation.
Got 35 to 40 hours in the game already. I'm loving, just like when I was 15 all over. Hell yeah, man. Oblivion is 64% downloaded. Oh yeah, you're trying to get on that hype train, huh? That Oblivion hype train. It's good stuff. I'm just shocked at how well this game holds up with just a few quality of life and gameplay tweaks. Yeah, this game was feeling old 10 years ago. This game was feeling old 15 years ago. But now it feels great. There's jank to it for sure, and there's certain things with like the gameplay and the movement and stiff animations and stuff like, and especially like the dialogue and sound that still feel old, but it holds up really, really well.
While I understand Bruma's need, Coral's own defense must come first. I cannot spare any soldiers as long as Coral remains under threat from the Oblivion Gate outside our walls.
Yeah, they left some of the exploits. Yeah, I think there was the alchemical, or no, there was a pickpocketing exploit, and I think there was an alchemy exploit too that they kept around. I never really used the exploits. I never felt like I needed them in this game. But I also felt like I never really needed a build guide for it either, because... What did she say?
While I understand Bruma's need, Coral's own defense must come first. I cannot spare any soldiers as long as Coral remains under threat from the Oblivion Gate outside our walls.
Okay, I'll go take care of that for you. What was I saying? I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, the exploits, yeah. I never really used them. I never really used build guides either. It's like once you just figure out that it's more about level scaling and how you manage your level progressions and your skill progressions, you don't really need build guides at that point. It's more conceptual than it is, you know, do this here and do this here. And also because you don't have the freedom to just take perks via perk points that you earned in a perk tree, you don't really have any freedom in building your character either. So I'm not going to be doing any build guides for this game. I might be doing some, you know, just tips and tricks videos on it, but for me, I don't see the value in a build guide. I'll watch one for entertainment purposes.
Greetings.
But... Oh, we got some young'uns in the chat, huh? You guys are obviously much younger than me with how much gray I have in my beard, right? Nah, I'll be 45 this year.
How are you
so
today?
I'm outpacing Silent by 10 years. Yeah, I think you got. I think it's more than a month. I'm in October, late October of 1980. I think you were earlier in the year, Magus. Same year. 10 months. Yeah, there you go. February, I guess. January. There you go. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how I screwed up the math on that. That's crazy. I'm trying to use Fudge Muppet's newest build in Oblivion. Yeah, I'll have to see how they're doing it. But for me, it's like I'm not really sure how I'd get any value from a build guide for Oblivion. Maybe. I'll take a look. I want to see how they're doing it and how it would be to follow. I did see a Bad Company Sarge build guide for his Oblivion Ranger, I think. And that wasn't really like a full build guide. That was just like, I used these skills and I played like this. You know, it was more just a kind of a, this is the concept of what you might want to do. 50 in January, there you go. We got a good range of ages here. I like it. This is what I love about video games, you know? It's like, if you were born in my generation, around the time when Magus and I were born, the Nintendo Entertainment System really took off, and we had a big arcade scene out in the malls and stuff like that. So older, you know, middle-aged people like Magus and I, we became obsessed with video games growing up. And video games are typically, you know, more they skew younger, right? Because they're games, they're meant for entertainment and active play. But we grew up on this stuff, so there's a lot of nostalgia, and it's like this has become our more preferred method of entertainment. But because of that, it's like now we get to bridge like things like age gaps, race gaps, socioeconomic gaps, because there was like a conversation, and we can find all kinds of things to have in common and have conversations about, coming from completely different backgrounds and things like that. And this is how we come together, is on these video games. I wore a Fallout hat to like a Costco, and there was this dude that was from like the Middle East running the register there with like a thick accent and everything, and he was like 20 years younger than me. And we had, just while he was checking me out, we had a whole conversation about Fallout 4 as like two people that we would never find, like, you know, probably any kind of thing to, like, if we just saw each other on the street, we might give each other like a nod or whatever, and then just not say a word to each other. But now it's like we come from these two completely different worlds, and now we're friends now because we played Fallout 4 a lot. It's awesome. I love it. Was lucky as hell when I was younger. My neighbors straight up gave me a PlayStation 1 when they got their mitts on a fresh PS2. My first game was a Spider-Man game that came out in 2000. That's awesome. Yeah, that was a fun game. That was the one where the webs didn't like connect to anything, so you're just kind of like swinging on invisible blimps in the sky. Can't wait to start staying shit. Like, get off my lawn. Yeah, there you go. Well, kids don't go outside and play anymore, so you probably won't get the opportunity to do that. They're all on a screen somewhere like me. I don't go outside anymore unless I'm doing yard work or shopping. Child at heart, yeah, I always will be. Farts will always be funny, and video games will always be fun. 2 words to live by as I get older. Way to ruin it. Right? It's like, this was Magus's dream, was to be able to shake his fist and yell at some kid to get off his lawn, and turns out kids don't even exist anymore. No, I went to a friend's house last night for a game night. These are old friends that I've had all the way back since like middle school, actually. And they have kids, and they were at like a bingo night fundraiser for their school. So yeah, the people are still getting out and about. I'm just being super cynical about it, but yeah, those kids are fun. We were playing, we're just wrestling and playing Nerf wars and things like that. Gotta stay young at heart. And we were doing all kinds of like physical play like that. We weren't just, you know, playing video games all the time. And we were playing board games on a table after the kids went to bed. It's still alive. Real life is still alive. That's what I was out late doing, Magus. I think you were like suspicious about why I was up and out so late on the Discord, but yeah, that's why. Playing board games with old friends. Karn is spreading the word onto you. Oh yeah, about the farts always being funny and video games always being fun, regardless of how old you get. Hell yeah, man. I'll spread that gospel all day. When I worked as a waiter, someone came in wearing a Skyrim t-shirt, so I said hello. Genocide Dovakin, and he chuckled. Yeah, nice. I feel like in this day and age, you need to find a friend group who become a second family. Well, yeah, it depends on how your family life is. I needed that. My family life was, and it sometimes continues to be tumultuous, so gotta find that stability somewhere else. So if you're fortunate enough to find a good friend group that acts as a family, then yeah, absolutely. You need it. Oh, that was just skeletons. I'm not going back all the way down there. All right, nobody. See you later, buddy. Loved playing Drunk Monopoly. Well, see, now we're all at the age where, well, most of us really didn't drink anyway in my friends group. We would just rather play games and goof around than imbibe alcohol for entertainment. But even those of us who did drink are kind of like over it now because our guts just can't handle it anymore. The mama bear of your friend group. Nice. Don't leave the house much anymore. Beyond the pain issues I deal with, I don't have a friend group, and family is also tumultuous. So hey, appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the good things about people, you know, the prevalence of screen time and online interaction is that people who physically can't get out of the house or anything, they have ways to socialize and people to connect with in different ways. So that's good. That's a plus. There are pros and cons. Where the hell did I come from and where am I going, Cotton Eye Joe? Wastes of Oblivion, that's out there. Got somebody really pissed off at me upstairs. Mostly mixed icy Kiss vodka and Red Bull. It was just tipsy. Yeah, no problem. I'm not judging you if you drink. There are literally millions of people who do it. Probably more people drink than don't at this age, I'm sure. Wind, welcome, welcome. How you doing? Yeah, everybody knows Silent. We can tell. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Okay, we unlocked a gate. Yeah, this is going to be the most challenging part coming back to Oblivion, is rememorizing all the different layouts for all these different Oblivion gates. Oh man, Wind, if you pick up this game, I'm gonna have so much fun watching you get lost in all these different places. I'm already lost, and I usually have a pretty good sense of direction. Drug of choice is Tylenol. Yeah, I consume way more ibuprofen than I do anything else, that's for sure. Oh, I also take a daily allergy pill as I'm like snorting and sneezing in your face over here. So yeah, Zyrtec and ibuprofen. That's my cocktail of choice. Ibuprofen or Motrin, there you go. Oh, I don't take it like candy. I'll take like 2 pills if I'm like having trouble with like, I don't know, muscle inflammation, or I got like I tweaked a tendon somewhere or something. I'll take like 4 pills a day. But usually I don't take any. If I'm gonna take a drug, ibuprofen is the one that I always have like a big bottle on hand just in case. I took a lot more of it when I was doing jiu-jitsu because I was crispy all the time. Yeah, definitely don't take it like candy. That will screw you up. That will like tear a hole in your stomach. You gotta be careful with that. So I'm not taking it for like general pain. I'm taking it for temporary pain. Oh, liver? Yeah, yeah. I couldn't remember if it was stomach or liver. But for whatever reason, wherever you're taking it, you don't want to take a bunch of it all the time. You can take a bunch of it for like a week or so, but then you gotta, like, you could get the prescription strength ibuprofen. And your doctor will tell you, like, yeah, get through the prescription, and it's like, that's a big, hefty ibuprofen pill. And then you're done with it in like a week, and then it's like, okay, now you don't take ibuprofen again for a while. Always helps if you're eating something with it too. But yeah, you don't be popping that stuff regularly. Oh yeah, that is definitely a waste of money. Yeah, you did a great job getting off of those cigarettes, man. For how long you were on them, and then... I don't want to speak to how easy it was because I didn't share with your struggle or anything, but you didn't seem to have much of a problem with it. It's pretty impressive. Woo. Alright, we made it. Let's get that shield up and running. You're free of drinking? Nice. And smoking? That's good. Yeah, there are health risks associated with marijuana for sure. I think I read somewhere that there's actually more carcinogens in marijuana than there is in tobacco. People just don't tend to smoke as much of each. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't really smoke, so I don't really have any reason to know. Maybe certain strains are worse than others. Oh, did you have a bad reaction to one? I need my torch. Miss it all, and when I can, we'll probably pick it all back up. Quit all by force. Ew. Yeah, that's the worst way to do it, I suppose, and that's probably also the way that you're gonna, you know, have the most chance of relapsing on it. You gotta want to not do it. Crushed Adderall and mixed it in? Oh my god. That sucks. That's no good. That's like an invasion of... That's like... Definitely an invasion of privacy. You're hearing the voices of the dead. Oh, I could imagine. I'd be pissed off too. I probably wouldn't stop screaming at the guy for like months. And I am not an angry person, anybody who knows me. Oh, you beat the shit out of him? Yeah. Shit, I think I'm at the point now where I just gotta like go unlock every single one of these. Oh yeah, you built up your tolerance. I might be there with caffeine right now, actually. I've been really trying to cut down on the caffeine. Because once you get to a point that's like where you're not getting the like alertness benefits from the caffeine. There's no gate controls over here, and I've already been here. God damn it. Let's just keep going left on that central one and just switching off every one we can find. Yeah, so you build up a tolerance to caffeine, but you can also, you will have withdrawal symptoms for it. But they're generally mild compared to other drugs, and they don't last long at all. Generally for me, like 3 or 4 days, I stopped getting the caffeine headaches after I cut back. But yeah, once you get to the point where you're not getting the energy and alertness boosts from caffeine, but it's still making you jittery, that's when you know you gotta cut back and reset your tolerances a little bit. Drink a lot of Alani? What's Alani? Is that caffeine? Is that a caffeinated beverage? Oh, I see. I'm opening up all these gates down here, and then there's probably a main entrance to this place somewhere else. All right, let's keep it going. Oh man, time flies when you're playing Oblivion. We only got like 40 minutes left in the window here. It's an affiliated energy drink. Okay. Yeah, I stick with Monster because it's fairly low caffeine. It's more caffeine than you get from like a Coke or something like that, but it's a lot less than the other energy drinks. Caffeine due to heart issues? Yeah, my heart's still good for now. That's good, but yeah, that's scary, right? Yeah, that always sucks, Magus, when you have a family member that suffers from that disease. It affects everybody. I know from experience. Monster Energy, the white can. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. You get them. You get a big case of them at Costco. Save a lot of money on them. I like the blue can too. There's a little more sugar in that one, but it's the low carb one. Very tasty. You can't get the blue ones at Costco though, so if I'm craving those, I gotta shell out a little more at a regular grocery store for them. Yeah, the Red Bull in the small cans is a reasonable amount of caffeine, but it doesn't give me enough of a kick. It's not enough caffeine for me to actually do anything. It might keep me up if I drink it late at night, but it's not gonna open my eyes for work or anything, or to get to the gym or whatever. Probably unpopular. I don't think it's totally unpopular. I think people have been divided for generations on whether or not Mountain Dew is good. Mountain Dew's the Starfield of the soft drink industry. No, I like Mountain Dew, but I can see why people don't like it. Especially if you get the full sugar version and it's not cold. It seems very like thick and heavy and just way too sweet. Like a diet Mountain Dew, I think I would probably prefer, or maybe even like a half sugar Mountain Dew would be good. But every once in a while, I do crave a Mountain Dew. Code Red and Baja are great. Those are, I agree, those are better than the original flavor. Fave flavor of Mountain Dew or of Monster? Of Mountain Dew, I probably got to go Code Red, and then Baja, and then original. But every once in a while, I do just really crave an original Mountain Dew. I don't know why. And then for Monster, I do prefer the blue ones, the low carb. Water, yeah, Wynn's got the sensible answer there. Drink water like Cristiano Ronaldo. No Coke, water. Don't actually drink soft drinks at all. That's good. I do actually very much micromanage my caffeine intake, so I do keep it healthy. I do consume 1 or 2 Monsters a day, but I keep the milligrams of caffeine I intake to a very specific amount, and it's quite lower than most people's for sure. So yeah, my blood pressure is always good. I tend to be very healthy whenever I go in for my checkups, which you got to worry about at this age. I am technically overweight, so I'm a big guy, and I'm now 45, so I got to make sure that the ticker is in good shape. So got to keep getting that. How do I actually get out of here now? I'm in a never-ending loop. This is like the Groundhog's Day of Oblivion. Yeah, I drink vastly more water than I drink anything else. But I would say water is not my preferred beverage. I do like a Monster. I do like a Dr. Pepper now and then. But yeah, if I'm drinking just because I'm thirsty, I'm drinking water. Absolutely water. I have to drink decaf now. I got the shakes so bad I was scared. Oof, yeah. That's the thing is caffeine affects. I'm pretty caffeine sensitive, so I gotta. If I'm getting more than like 300 milligrams a day, if I'm not like sleep deprived or whatever, then I start getting anxious, and I'm not typically an anxious person. So that's why I count my milligrams. Generally, if I keep it under or around 300 milligrams, I'm good. But typically, I'm closer to like 200, 240. Dr. Pepper is the best. It's goated as sodas go. I agree. And it was like the original. I think Dr. Pepper was out way before like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, any of that. It's the OG, and it is still the best in my opinion. Just had my blood pressure checked, and mine is good. Haven't done my labs yet. Yeah, just late last year, I had full blood panel done, and you know, the full workup, and I'm good. My man juice is a little low, but you know, that happens to guys my age. Doing things to bump that back up, but other than that, perfectly healthy. Plus those energy, well, it really depends on what's in the energy drink. You take a look at the ingredients, and like Monster actually is not bad, but like anything, moderation is key. Oh boy, this is terrible. I have no idea where I'm going. I don't know where I've been. Well, I know where I've been based on, you know, how many dead things and empty containers are laying around, but I don't know where I'm supposed to be going. I'm supposed to be going through these gates that I've opened up. Okay, so this is like where I started, and I've opened up gates here. Anyone try those alternate coffee types? Rise and the other one? Mushroom? No, I've never tried that. I've done kombucha in the past. I was on my raw vegan kick, I don't know, like 15 years ago at this point. I was super skinny back then. Healthy, but actually quite underweight for my height. So then I started having to beef up my protein a little bit because I wanted to do martial arts and stuff, and I was a little frail for that, so picked up meat again and beefed up. Here we go. Now we're cooking with gas and flame match and fire salts. Cooking with fire salts. Flame Atronach is the bigger threat, so now we'll take the scamp on. Yeah, so I never really liked the kombucha. Apparently there's some good probiotics and stuff in it, but it just tasted very vinegar. It was like drinking apple cider vinegar. It was really strong. It was lightly caffeinated. There was some fermentation in it, so it had extremely like trace amounts of alcohol in it, but people were just drinking it. I think it's like a soda substitute to be more healthy, but yeah, I felt my teeth felt like they were like getting gross because of all the acidity of the stuff that I was drinking, and I never really enjoyed the taste of it. But some people love it. Kombucha is absolutely disgusting. Yeah, that we can agree on. Wait for more hard. Yeah, good general advice there. Only caffeine is iced tea. That's good. You get the antibiotics from the tea for sure. Oh, I also do drink a fair amount of matcha green tea. It's a Japanese green tea that you get in powder form. And then just mix it. You don't really brew it. You just mix it into hot water, straight into the hot water. And it does have a nice little caffeine kick to it, and you get a ton of antibiotics in it. So yeah, I drink one of those a day. So I'll usually do like a Monster and a matcha green tea about midday. But if it gets hot here, then I'll swap out that matcha for like another Monster or whatever, and just make sure I'm keeping my milligrams in check. Put a tablespoon of the apple cider. Yeah, man. Back when I was doing my raw vegan stuff, I was getting a lot of that apple cider vinegar stuff, and that stuff is nasty. It's real nasty. And that was kind of wearing away my teeth too. You got to be careful about that. But you can get it in pill form, and that's usually more easily stomachable. Best to get a biotic pill regimen recommended by your gastro doc. You could use one of those. I had my gallbladder out late last year. And before that, I was, I eat like an avocado or something with bacon in it, and I just get like bad stomach aches and, gas pains and stuff like that. And then right after the surgery, I was getting just a lot of gas. I was farting so much, and then it quelled. It went away over the course of a couple weeks, thankfully. But then, like in the last week, it's just been, I've had really, really bad gas, and my poor wife, is just shouting at me, screaming at me the whole time. Oh, I got to check to see if there's a gate switch to open up over here. I didn't think there was one. No, just the fountain. But it turns out that you know, we had a couple of bad funky sandwiches from Jersey Mike's that we ordered to have delivered while we were both working. And now that those are out of my system, and I had a just by complete random chance, I had Taco Bell 2 nights in a row. So now that that's out of my system, I'm fine. I also regularly eat pickles like bubbies and yogurt. I hate pickles. I cannot stand pickles. I think the theme here is that I am very sensitive to acidic foods, which is a good thing, so they can jack with your stomach and your teeth and everything. Yeah, I hate pickles. There's just green shards of poison. Let's say some serious gut issues going on right now. A lot of cause for worry. Yeah, I knew about the gallbladder thing. That was, I had a rib injury in jiu-jitsu. I got wrung out like a wash rag by a bigger dude and separated a rib from the cartilage, which was a nasty injury. But then we had to do like full imaging on it and everything. So they did like an ultrasound on it, and some other stuff, just to make sure that there was no internal damage to any of the organs or whatever. And they're like, "Oh yeah, you have gallstones, man." And it was asymptomatic at the time, but it started getting worse and worse. So finally this year, or this last year, decided to, you know, get my insurance all lined up and everything, and went under the knife, or the laser now. Pretty minimally invasive. I had like 3 or 4 small inch size incisions that were just lasered open. It did take me a good 6 weeks to like heal to where I was able to get back in the gym and start exercising again, but yeah, it was not the easiest recovery, but not terrible. And then they used, for the sutures, they used glue on it. So basically, so you don't have to go get your stitches removed. You just, it'll come off in the shower when it wears out. And usually by the time the glue wears out, your suture or your wound should be healed. So yeah, not a bad experience. Just the recovery was rough with the gastrointestinal distress for a few weeks, and then obviously you're lasering through all of that muscle tissue and everything, so it takes a while for that to heal before you can be active again. Yeah, but now digestion's pretty good, as long as I'm not eating funky sandwiches that taste like vinegar when they shouldn't. Yeah, I had 2 bad sandwiches and 2 Taco Bell meals. That's enough to give anybody bad guts. Pickles are a good contrast of flavor on a spicy chicken sandwich, though, like a Nashville hot sandwich or something from Chick-fil-A. Yeah, that's why they come standard on so many, like the Popeyes chicken sandwiches that went gangbusters a few years back. And then, you know, all the copycats that came from that, it's like you get mayo and you get pickles. So yeah, that is a popular combo for sure, but I always ordered mine without the pickles. I cannot stand pickles. That's nuts. Yeah, I feel you. If it means anything, gotta have my jaw completely reset. Wow. That sounds invasive. Indifferent towards pickles? Yeah, no, I usually order my stuff without pickles, but then if like I get a burger or something that I forget to tell them no pickles, or, you know, fair amount of the time they just put them on anyway because they're just the muscle memory of it or whatever, and they're not paying close enough attention, then I have to go pick them all off. And then it's like I'm not going to enjoy my burger the same as I would have otherwise, because the remnants of that pickle juice is strong. It overpowers everything. I'm a weenie. I'm a weenie with the pickles. They taste how feet smell. Yeah. Sometimes. Getting gang rushed. So this is really the time when things get uncomfortable, is when I have like a bunch of Dremora and Clanfear around me. The Scamps don't actually do enough damage to be much of a threat, but the Dremora Kinreeves and the Clanfear right now, and those will be replaced with Daedra soon enough. That's when things are gonna get scary. I went keto in 2021 due to type 2 diabetes, dropped a ton of weight, and off all meds now. I'm more low carb now, but have maintained and feel better than I did when I was in my 40s. That's awesome. That's good to hear. Keto works really well for a lot of people. I was on keto just, you know, my wife and I were just trying to lose a little bit of weight or whatever, and it worked well for, you know, a couple months and everything, but then it's like, for me, it wasn't sustainable. Just because it's like I really started craving those carbs like crazy. I felt like I wasn't getting something that my body needed. Yeah, you hear those stories, and it might work out for some people, especially if you have like, you know, diabetes or, you know, hypo or hyperglycemia separately. It can help a lot. I'm not particularly sensitive to carbs, though. And I think most people probably aren't. But for the people that are, keto can make a world of difference, especially things like gluten allergies, gluten sensitivities, which for whatever reason, gluten-free stuff has made like a huge surgence in like health food circles and stuff. But the vast majority of people, gluten is actually very healthy for. It's quite a healthy protein that you get from wheat or whatever. So most people shouldn't be avoiding gluten, but for the people that need it, it can make all the difference in the world. And gluten or keto can really make a huge difference with that too. It's just, yeah, we do have the same like general anatomy and stuff that you can't really deny that, but when it comes to like hormone levels and different like just blood types and body chemistry and stuff like that, we are all very, very different. And different foods and different activities and different drugs are going to affect us all in very different ways. Just got to find out what your tolerances are, what works for you, everything in moderation, all that stuff. It's amazing how clear everything is once I stopped eating sugar. It was like stopping. Yeah, sugar. Food cravings are hard. I don't know. I don't know that I've been addicted. I think the closest thing to addiction I have is like caffeine. But I'm vastly easier for me to just give up on caffeine and not take it than it is to give up sugar. Oh shit, you gotta get your skull rebuilt? Oh my god. Never been through anything like that before. And synthetic sugar is most likely your high fructose corn syrups, and yeah, I don't know how much sugar is actually synthetic. There's processed sugar, but most foods, I don't think there's anything that's really fully synthetic. You have your lab-grown like beef and stuff now, but even that is real meat. It's just this is grown from stem cells and stuff. It's really hard to say where you cut off that artificial line, right? Is anything processed? Are you calling it artificial, or if there's any GMOs involved, is that artificial? I don't know, it just seems really arbitrary to me. And then even with like processed foods, it's like all foods are processed to some degree. Like you gotta wash your, even like your organic fruits and vegetables, you gotta wash that to make sure like you're not getting pesticides or bugs or anything in your food. That's processing. Jigsaw puzzles and card games are the best family time. Hey, I agree. Oh, there's that Daedra I was talking about. Oh, it's a summoned one though. Shit, that's one I can't really ignore as well. Okay, was able to finagle around the battlefield. Footwork is the basis of all warriors. Most important tool for anybody fighting in any kind of melee situation is footwork. It's not how hard you can punch, it's not how accurately you can punch. It's how well you can move and maintain your distance and angles properly. How about that? Didn't know you were getting a martial arts lesson, did you? Be encumbered? No, we're good. I was probably hit by a burden effect or something on one of those weapons, one of those maces I got hit with. All right, we made it. We got we got very lost, but we figured it out. Oh, I am over encumbered, but I'm still running. Probably just can't sprint. No, I can sprint. Interesting. Probably can't fast travel. Unless it's from farm to fork, and then it's not unprocessed. Yeah, it's not processed, right? But even then, what do you consider processed? You still have to wash it. I think unless it's from ground to mouth, it's not processed, and you don't want to do that. I mean, okay, I say that, but then I have a grapefruit tree and a lemon tree in my backyard, and I will often eat grapefruit straight off the tree, and that is truly unprocessed. But even then, I use fertilizer and stuff that's probably processed. Adding additives, and yeah, like fertilizer. Can't watch, unfortunately. Loving the content. Would love a Let's Play Oblivion. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Oblivion's having a big moment, and I'm loving it. So usually I don't like follow trends with YouTube and stuff like that. I play what I want to play, and I make the content that I want to watch. And I like I was saying earlier, I don't feel like I would get a whole lot of value out of build guides from Oblivion just because of the way the leveling system works. But Let's Plays, I've been thinking about dipping my toe back in a Let's Play series, and I think Oblivion would be great for a Let's Play series, so I might. Hotch, oh yeah, I recognize your avatar there. Welcome back. Peaches, cherries, and apple trees where you live at on your family's farm. Awesome. That's probably all delicious. Not a lot of people living these days get there's a certain kind of like pure joy that you get from going outside, finding a piece of food on a tree somewhere, like grabbing it, taking it back to your house or to a table, or sitting down with it and just eating it. There's something just very kind of like fulfilling about that. And there's just a weird kind of joy that you get from it too, that so many people just don't get to experience in like urban places. Gardens farm, fresh eggs, chicken. Oh man, a fresh, like farm fresh chicken egg is way better than the stuff you get from the store. Used to go to organic like farmers markets all the time and just pick up the eggs. I would spend a fortune on eggs. Not as much as we're spending nowadays, fortunately. But yeah, it would be so good. Just a little bit of, I don't know, just whatever oil you want to use on it. Just a splash just to get it to keep from sticking from the pan, and maybe a little bit of salt, and that's all you need. It's delicious. Still remember Ghosts of Yore Let's Play all the way back? Oh yeah, that's the Alucel Alteration Swordsman one. Hell yeah. That was one of my favorite characters ever. I might have to do like a build guide on him or something. And I feel like I'm better with the commentary now than I was back then. I just am a little bit more comfortable in front of the mic and the camera, and even live with the streaming and stuff. I feel like I could do a better Let's Play now than I was able to do back then. So I might do that. We'll see. It just depends on how much time I have for stuff. That's been really my limiting thing. Is
it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm
the time it is
Velda
to create content.
I wish I had time to chat.
100 acres?
But
Nice,
I'm afraid
man.
I'm in the middle of
Best
an
place you can shop at is a
investigation.
farmer's markets, actually, because it's straight from the farm to them. Yeah, you cut out the middleman. It's usually fresher. You don't get all the additives and stuff.
Your reputation precedes you, Hera of Kvatch. You have done
Oh, now my
city a
reputation
great
precedes me, but
service
it
by
didn't before I got
closing
rid
the
of your Oblivion Gate, did it?
I will now gladly send soldiers to aid
Hey,
in
you
the
too,
defense
Jonas.
of Bruma.
Take care.
Consider it done.
Or Jonas. I think you were from Norway, if I remember correctly, so that would be a soft J. Have a good weekend. Good to see ya. Yeah, Jonas here was one of my first subscribers ever, and he was commenting on my old Let's Play stuff, like before the channel even got like 50 subscribers. So I always enjoy seeing him in the chat. Good stuff. Seeing farmers markets pop up more and more. I used to go to him all the time when you go to them all the time when I lived in San Diego. They're everywhere in Tennessee. Yeah, we have a fair amount of them here in the Phoenix area too. You do have to kind of get up early on a Saturday to partake in most of them here, because of the way the heat is over here. You gotta take care of it early before noon or whatever. And then it's just completely unsustainable for anybody to stand out there selling stuff after that. So usually after a hard week, it's really hard for me to get up early on a Saturday or a Sunday. And of course it cuts into my stream time and stuff too. I gotta sleep my tired ass in, catch up on some sleep, you know. You do have to wake up early to get them. Get there like at 8 in the morning, then have like till noon or 1 somewhere in there. Yeah, earlier here in the summertime, like I said, just because of the heat situation. But yeah, it's just what are you gonna prioritize? You know, for me, it's usually sleep because that's usually the greater need of the time. But yeah, getting that farm fresh food is fantastic. Got a jet as well. Thanks for streaming, Karn. Thank you all for chatting with me like you have. Stay safe. Yeah, you too, Twit Boy. Hope things, you know, work out with the procedures and everything. That sucks. Have a good weekend though, alright? Play some video games. It's getting actually close to the end of the stream here for me, right? Very, very close. Where are we going now? Let's take this ridiculous helmet off first of all. Vidya games, yes. What is everybody playing? I think everybody's pretty much obsessed with Oblivion right now. And of course I'm always playing Skyrim and stuff. I've also been playing Dead Cells. I've been getting farther in that game. I love a good roguelite. But yeah, for me it's just Oblivion right now for the most part. Man, I love this game. The feels, the nostalgia. Dead Cells any good? I've been wanting to try it. It's like a Metroidvania. It plays kind of like a Metroidvania. It's a 2D kind of like platforming. There's a lot of combat in it too. So it plays like a Metroidvania because you do have, you know, some ranged attacks, some text to speech. Yeah, I guess it's slightly less terrible than typing on your phone. But mostly it's roguelite. So you're meant to die. You do these runs that you try to get as far as possible, eventually you're going to die. So you're going to lose your progress as far as that goes, but there's usually some kind of progression system that stays permanent throughout your loops. And then the goal is obviously to get to the end of the game, but with roguelites, it's usually, roguelikes are usually far more difficult than roguelites. But Dead Cells is a roguelite. It's not, it does get hard at those higher levels for sure, but it's not like as hard as a more true roguelike like Returnal or something like that. But if you like the gameplay of Castlevania and Metroid, you're gonna love the gameplay of Dead Cells. It plays really, really well. The platforming works great. The pacing on the combat is really good. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's just a really good game all around. Stop my retro stuff back to Skyrim probably tomorrow or Monday. So yeah, you were on Tactics Ogre for a long time, Magus. You must have really liked it. So you're done with your retro stint. I've got most of it. I got through the Chrono Cross one, which I think you had to stop because of the stability issues you were having with it. But yeah, I watched through that. I'm about halfway through your first Final Fantasy VI video. And from what I've seen of both of those games, I think I probably like Final Fantasy VI better. Just, personal preference or whatever. I know you're all about the Chrono series, but the Final Fantasy VI looks really good. Going back to Lexi's, nice. Did they get some of the kinks worked out from before? I think they had some update or something that was causing some issues. Final Fantasy VI's stories are amazing. Chrono Trigger is still my favorite all-time game. Nice. I haven't played any of them. I'm just kind of experiencing them vicariously through your archives on YouTube. No more CBBE. Nice. Going back to UNP, or what other kind of body type are they using now?
Isn't it awful?
It is awful.
Back to
Poor
UNPB.
mother.
Okay.
What is Glistel thinking?
Good day.
Bye.
So it's like Hades. Yeah, it's a lot like Hades. It's probably, in terms of overall structure and how you play the game and everything, Dead Cells is a lot more like Hades than it is like Metroidvania. But the gameplay with the side-scrolling and the platforming and stuff is more like Metroid, I would say. But yeah, Hades is amazing. Dead Cells has the same kind of thing. Lexi's favorite as well as mine too. Cool. Hey, this guy looks like you. Yeah, kinda, right? So the character creation in this game is really, really good. You can spend, and people have actually in the various discords and stuff, have spent hours making their characters, of course. And I didn't really mess with the facial shape and everything, but I was kind of going for like a Karn-like aesthetic. The biggest problem with the character creator in this game is the lighting in the dungeon. It really brightens up all the hair. I was trying to go for like a more gray salt and pepper look, but the lighting in the starting dungeon area, it really brightened up the hair way too much. And so as soon as I got out into like natural lighting, it's like, okay, now all of a sudden I have black hair, which is not characteristic for a Nord, but I guess more Western Nords have darker hair. But yeah, I was trying to kind of get them to look a little bit like me, Yeah, take care, Tom. Have a good weekend, okay? All right, guys, I only got a couple minutes left, so I think I'm going to call the stream here. Thanks for joining me. This was a lot of fun. I love this game. It was cool talking about like the leveling system. It's a shot from like a real blast from the past, and this was a game that I have very fond memories of. And now that it's so vastly improved by this, not all remasters really improve the game in meaningful ways, but this one is absolutely the best version of Oblivion you're going to play. I think even considering like mods and stuff, of course, some of the gameplay mods and stuff, if you preferred playing a game with certain overhaul mods, those probably don't exist yet. But if you're experiencing this game for the first time, don't even bother with the original. Play this one. This is an awesome game. Fantastic game. It stands up completely with modern games. Highly recommend. Awesome. Okay, I'm taking off, guys. If you want to continue the conversation, there is a link to the Discord in the description below, so take a look at that. Go ahead and join. It's free to join. You just got to prove you're not a bot or whatever, and then you're free to talk. There's also great content creators linked in the description below. A lot of Twitch action happening there throughout the weeks and stuff, so you can
Greetings.
You know, see me in those chat rooms and stuff there too. And a lot of the usual suspects that you're seeing in chat right now. Yeah, okay, that's it for me. I'm gonna grab some lunch. Probably got some yard work and stuff to do, and just enjoy my weekend. You guys do the same, all right? See you guys. Bye bye.